Drivers, start your engines!
Okay, here we are at Charlotte Motor Speedway, the Carburetor Cup. It's a 15-lap fixed setup race. Let's talk a little bit about setups. If we go into the garage, you see that it is a fixed setup race. Can't make any adjustments to the tire pressure in the chassis section. Again, everything is mostly fixed except for the steering ratio, steering offset, and the front brake bias. So steering ratio, we have the degrees of steering wheel rotation to give 1 degree of front wheel steer angle. Higher ratio equals slower response, less twitchy, harder to catch slides with counter steering. Steering offset, degrees of steering wheel offset achieved with a combination of installing the steering wheel into the quick release mechanism, which is your actual steering wheel, off center, and adjusting front tie rods. That's a bit complicated. I can't pretend to understand everything that means. Front brake bias, percent of braking force acting at the front wheels. More front brake bias equals car more stable under braking, but longer braking distances needed. Too little front brake bias equals car wants to spin under braking. Well, there is no braking in this race. You don't have to go into the pits for this race unless you wreck. In that case, you're probably getting towed there. So we don't have to really worry about that one too much. So these are iRacing's recommended settings. Let's just do a couple laps with them.
Pit lane speed limit is 45 miles per hour. Your exit's clear. Don't cross the white line.
Okay, so we got a mirror on our out lap, on the first lap too. The tires are still cold, so you don't have the amount of grip that maybe you'll want. So we'll head on to track. Oh, watch out for that bump. So again, we're not going fast around these corners. We're taking it kind of easy on this out lap. Throttle up, watch out for the wall on the exit 4. This is our first flying lap. But again, we're not pushing it too much yet, because we are on cold tires. Green 4, again, off the throttle half or so, back on. And what I don't like about this setup is that the car feels twitchy, making a lot of steering wheel adjustments. And the line on my steering wheel, my physical steering wheel, it doesn't match the one on the screen. I'm kind of pointing my wheel towards the wall, and I don't care for that. I like to have my wheel set so it's basically in line with my wheel set on the monitor. You see, I'm still quite twitchy here. I haven't been able to really blast through the corners yet. Tires are warming up. I'm feeling a little bit more comfortable. I think I've got some grip. Coming off and trying to come back on that throttle quickly. But not ramming into the 4. It's a little twitchy coming out of 4, you can see it.
29.5.
That's not a bad lap time, 29.5. Twitching around the corner still. But I think what I'll do is I'll finish this lap, and I'll come back into the pits, and I'll make some adjustments. Oh, you see, I can't come on that throttle early. I am losing it. Okay, so we'll come back into the pit lane.
30.8, just down 30.68. That puts you 1.16, slower than your best.
So 29.522. Okay. Back to the pits. Leave the pits, go to the garage. Chassis. Steering ratio. You go as high as 16:1. I don't think that's necessary at this track. Short tracks, that might help you. Tracks like this, Talladega, some of the faster tracks, 14:1, 12:1. I'm going to go 14:1. My steering offset, I was pointing at the wall, so I'm going to bring that down to 0. That's more straighter for me. And since I don't use the front brake bias, and I want the car to be a bit more stable overall, I'd like to bring it up to 70%. When I'm in the car, I have a black box and I can adjust the front brake bias by plus or minus 3 degrees, so I can bring it down to 67. I find 70 is too high. This setup passes, it's done. Let's go back in and try a couple laps with this setup. So I'm applying the same rules. My outlaps are slow because my tires are cold. Now this setup might be a bit tight, which means it's not quite as fast. But over a 15-lap race where tires really go off fast, this saves tires. So overall, you actually are quicker in the long run compared to the short runs. So again, kind of slow on my outlap, watching out for the wall. First flying lap, again, not super aggressive. Off the throttle, a bit too high there. Back on the throttle. Don't want to lose the car. Watch out for the wall. Almost kissed it there. Hit turn 3 again. Off. And slowly back on. And again, it feels much more stable. It feels like I'm actually in control of the car now. Don't feel the back end slipping away on it. Try to do a couple of hot laps. So we're not off the throttle as much and we're back on it a little sooner. That was twitchy, but I caught it and it felt comfortable catching it. I wasn't going to lose it all. Okay, that's not bad. Couldn't come on the throttle quite as early as I wanted. Had to feather a little bit. So that's not bad. I haven't lost a lot of speed compared to the iRacing setup. So here we are at the qualifying for the 15-lap fixed race at Charlotte. Going to the garage, you can see the chassis. I have 14:1 steering ratio, 0 degree steering offset, 70% on the front brake bias. Let's try to qualify.
His exit's clear. Okay, John, we've got 2 laps to get the job done.
Two laps of qualifying, so we're hoping our second lap is better than our first lap. Keeping in mind that our first lap we are on cold tires. And we don't need the corners quite as aggressively.
Green flag. Okay, here comes your first time lap.
Could decide to go looser on this lap with your settings. Gain you a few tenths maybe.
29.25.
But I prefer to kind of do the banker laps.
30.417.
That puts you 1.16 off the pace. That was at 30.42.
Okay, checkered flag.
So our second lap was definitely faster than our first lap. We were in at 29.664, which is okay. Loosening up the car, we might get a 29.3. These guys at the front doing very well with 29.25, 29.26.
Box in 430 meters.
Just drive into the pits. Always a good idea to drive into the pits at the end of your qualifying. See where your pit stall is.
Box in 5, 4, 3.
In case you have to go there during the race.
1. Box now.
Okay, we're going to go to the grid to start the race. Go into garage, chassis, just check those adjustments. Everything is fine, the way I want it for the race. It's a night race, so the track will cool, the tires will heat up. There's a lot of tire wear here. These settings seem to help me save tires, so I can go a little quicker on in the last half of the race. Let's take to the grid.
One to go, next time by, line up on the inside, pit road is closed.
Go through the black box. There's nothing I can change. Fuel, no point in making any fuel adjustments. If you do enter the pits, you don't need more fuel. Do the 0 if you want. Tire pressures, can't change, can't do anything with those, but we can replace tires if we do go into pits. Our tire info doesn't tell us anything. Spring offset, can't do anything with that. Tape, can't do anything. Front brake bias, we can go up and down 3% if we want. But just leave it at 0. Graphics adjustments. Only thing I changed is the yaw on the pitch. 0.4% on the yaw, 1.2% on the pitch. Doesn't really improve the driving, but I'm used to that. Radio, lap timing, standings, starting in 5th position, so I'm on the inside. I'll leave it on relative for the race.
Fahrenheit 25 laps. We need to follow car number 7.
Catch up, 7, car.
Catch up to car number 7.
And I like to rest my foot on the brake the first lap or 2, because that's when the craziness happens. And I got my brake calibrated so that resting my foot on the brake does not give me any brake input, so it's fine. See if I can go a few laps before wrecking. Keeping an eye on lap times.
Get ready, going green.
Okay, John, stay calm, focus.
And we don't have to push anything at the beginning of the race.
Green flag, green flag. Car outside. Stay low, there is a car on the high side. Outside, clear.
Okay, that was a pretty decent start. Pack is stuck behind that one driver. The leader is going into the wall on the first lap.
Leading the race.
So
Good start.
he's got a loose car. Sorry about the language there.
4, 5, 2. He's now in third. Doing great. Really good job.
I think there was a wreck behind me. A lot of guys are out. Definitely got a fast car, but it's loose on the settings. Needs to be a little bit all over the track. Desperate to pass.
29.3.
The leader has just done a 29.60. The guy ahead has just done a
Let's save our tires
29.7.
back here for now. There's only 15 laps, but the tires go off pretty quickly. Seems to be a little bit loose up there. That's what I like about my setup, is that I feel very stable in the car. It's very stable. Look how low I can go in the corner here. I'm going back up to the wall. A little twitchy. There we got lap traffic already. Look at that. Careful around the laps. Lappers. Oh, look at that. Look at that.
That car is a lap down.
Yeah.
Inside. Clear inside. 30.155.
Wow. It's really off the throttle there. Watch out for that guy.
The guy in front is Roberts.
Still way high in the corners there. Like sit up there. Playing with fire.
That car is a lap down. 30.336. 20 more laps. Car outside. Outside is clear.
Thanks, buddy.
Okay, John. Next car is green. So green ahead is increasing. It's now 135.
Yeah. The distance ahead increased because I was very hesitant going around that lap car. Now I'm getting into a rhythm.
Roberts is now leading.
29.611.
I'm going to see if these guys could take themselves out somehow. I did a 29.5 early in the race, and now I'm past halfway and I do a 29.7. So that's very, very good. Not too much tire drop off here. Feel very comfortable with that.
Green in front is now 1.16.
No threats from behind.
29.832.
29.83.
I probably could push it a little bit more in the corners, but I'm going to try to finish the race. The leaders are now banging wheels. Oh, into the wall, into the wall, into the wall.
The next car is the leader. Inside.
There we go. Split the difference there.
29.04. Clear inside.
I was expecting a little bit of craziness from those two guys.
Go high.
That was a nice stable car. Oh, sorry, we're not past halfway. This is a 25 lap race. I thought it was only 15 laps. I'm thinking of Talladega. Okay, well, it's all right. Tires squeal. Means I have to back off a bit, else I'll go around.
30.411.
Yeah, so my tires are a little bit slow. I'm a little bit slower on my tires now. On a 30-second lap. Yeah, drifting a little bit higher now, so I've got to be careful.
Okay, John, operating. Fuel's good.
I'm feeling very comfortable around the corners. Maybe that's because I'm not going quite as fast now. Coming off the throttle a lot more. And second place is catching up to me.
30.5.
That lap was at 30.51. Alright, John, that time's pretty consistent. That was at 30.66.
Very low that time. But the car seemed to handle it. A little bit hesitant that time in 3.
30.755.
Coming off a little sooner, but getting on halfway through, which is good.
Last lap was at 30.85. The gap to green behind is increasing. It's now 0.91.
Not quite a second behind me. Still within striking distance. Especially if I make a mistake.
30.838.
Now we can compare the tire drop off, eh? Can't get anywhere near 29 now. Lots of squeal there. Get close to 31-second laps now. But it's the same for everybody. When these tires drop off. That was a little bit funky. On and off the throttle.
Just died.
Now we're at 31. Tires are going off now. You can feel it in my steering. A little bit more vibration in my pedal and my steering wheel from the force feedback.
009.
Won't go quite as low to the line now. Making some adjustments, but the car doesn't feel too bad.
Coming out to green behind us now, 0.77.
31.05.
The last lap time was at 31.06.
I'm lucky I don't have a lot of lap traffic. Maybe a lot of guys have left the race already. A few guys coming up, but they'll be in good shape.
Two left to go. Two to go.
Lap times pretty consistent.
I'm going to catch them before the end of the race, so that's one less thing to worry about. So we have threats from behind.
One more lap to win. 31.075.
That last lap was at 31.08.
So I really believe that making those setup adjustments gives you a better car for the long run. And it tightens the car up, but it's a better long run car, and the results are right here.
Well done, mate. You made them all look silly today.
You won. You drove a great race.
I could use some donuts. Probably something comes tearing around the corner and hits me here.
Okay, the race is over. Bring it on in.
All right, there we go. Official standings. So we did quite well. So check out my ideas for fixed race settings. See what you can do with them. Again, we'll take a quick peek at them. And nothing doing with the tire pressures. For chassis, again, for the short tracks, 14, 16 to 1. For places like Talladega, you could go lower, 10 to 1. I wouldn't go 8 to 1. 10 to 1, 12 to 1. I like 12 to 1 in qualify, 14 to 1 when I'm racing. Adjust your steering offset. Go out and do some practice laps. Just see how you like your steering wheel pointing. I like it pointing in the same direction as what I see on the monitor. Just makes sense to my brain that way. Front brake bias. Again, if you're not doing any pitting, I think moving it up adds stability. Though I've heard a lot of guys telling me that moving it down maybe moving down to 60 provides stability. So again, it's a personal choice, but play around with it, because I think even though it's only 3 adjustments, I think they do matter. I think they can improve how you feel about your car and your confidence in it. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the race.